Well, it's like 8 o'clock right now. Yes, as usual, I'm in my robe and pajamas, just relaxing at home. But there are a few places that I really, really need to declutter and organize here. And I thought, why not tonight just take a little bit of time to show you all the spaces that I'm going to be working on, because sometimes people assume that just because I'm a professional organizer, that my entire home must be perfect and organized all the time. But that is not true. So we're not going to do a whole house tour right now, but I do want to show you some of the spaces in my home that I really need to work on. So here's an example of what I don't need to work on. My dining table is looking nice and clear and tidy. It may not be clean, right? But the difference is between clean and tidy, those are two different things, right? Like, yes, everything is kind of put away from my table after dinner tonight, but it really could use a good clean. Like if you look closely at it, it's kind of dirty right now. But anyway, let's look at a couple of the places, because there are two places in particular that really need some extra love from organizing. And so one of them we're going to take a look at. I'm not going to do a full declutter right now of these spaces, just because I can tell my daughter's still like trying to fall asleep right now. But I am going to show you what these spaces are that I'm hoping to work on, and hopefully in the next week or two, film some content about. So let's take a look at space number one that really could use some decluttering in my home. So it's underneath my sink, and don't judge me here, right? Because I do this for a living, but it's just kind of gotten out of hand, as you can see. How has it gotten out of hand? I think the thing is, I just haven't reviewed these items in a really long time. And this happens so often in spaces in our home like this, where if we don't look at it that often, or I only grab things from the front, what happens is all this stuff in the back just gets forgotten. I honestly don't even know what all is back there. Hold on, I gotta sit on the floor. As someone who's 7 months pregnant, squatting down like that, it's not super easy. So one of the spaces that I really need to declutter is this under sink area. And how am I gonna go about doing that? It's one of the questions that I get asked all the time. It's I just don't even know where to get started. It's too overwhelming, it's too much for me. So if you just joined me, I was sharing, I'm going to show you some spaces that I need to be decluttering and organizing in my home. I'm not gonna do a full declutter right now. It's my daughter's trying to go to sleep. Hi, thanks for stopping by. But what I would do first here, when I do declutter this, and I am gonna make a video, hello, thanks for stopping by. When I do make a video about decluttering this, oh, it's our evening time. That's why I'm in my robe here. It's 8 o'clock, 8:12. I'm gonna pull everything out. So what you'll wanna do when you're decluttering any space is pull everything out of that space. So you can see here kind of a close look at everything that I have underneath my kitchen sink. And this is where I keep pretty much most of my cleaning supplies is down here. I would pull everything out. As I'm pulling it out, what I'm going to do is sort everything by type. And what I mean by that is that you will look for like items. So for example, oh nice, I'm in Southern California in the US. So for example, all of these Method multi-purpose cleaners, I'm gonna pull all of those out and put those together. I have multiple types of dishwashing soap, which I can see here. All of those I'm gonna put together too. I see back there's some, at one point this was very nicely organized. There's some bug spray and other kinds of things like that. And then I don't even know what's behind there. Again, the reason why I think it got like this, and I'm fine with admitting this, is that when there are spaces that are kind of forgotten about that we don't use all the time, or for me, I only pull these few things from the front, it gets kind of neglected. And I don't know what it is about cleaning supplies in particular, but cleaning supplies for me are not something that I really go through regularly, versus something like my bathroom. I'm incredibly minimalist in there and go through my stuff quite often. And so it looks very, very tidy and it's not cluttered, but this has gotten out of control. And so I'm giving you all a sneak peek. Do I like Frank Sinatra? I guess so. It's not really my type of music necessarily, but thanks for asking me. Personally, I really like late 90s, early 2000s music. Anyway, so after I sort everything from here, then I'm going to determine what I actually need to keep. And how am I going to make these decisions? I'm going to be thinking about what have I actually used in the last 6 months? Not even the last year. What have I used in the last 6 months? I bet there are some things in here that are really old that I just don't even use. And I know that that's a fact. So when I do film this video, which is going to be reorganizing this section of my home, I am going to pull it all out, sort it by type, and hopefully at least some of it's going to go. I know it will. But I'm thinking that my goal would be maybe a third, if not half of this, is going to leave. And I can just see, even just from glancing in here, that some of it I absolutely never use. For example, there's some dishwasher soap in the back there that I've had this really serious smell aversion during my pregnancy right now. I can't handle things that are really a certain type of scent. And so some of those things I just can't take. But I just left them back there because I thought, well, they're perfectly good. And that's the reason why so many of us keep things, right? Is that we think, well, it works. We spent money on it. Why should we let it go? But then this kind of situation happens, right? Where it's just kind of overflowing. Thankfully, I can close these doors, but I feel like that's part of the problem, right? Is that because this stays closed, oh, this is just like a baby proofing thing that I have there. Because this stays closed and I don't access it too often, I often forget about it, just forget that it exists. So that's space number one. So just to reiterate, let me get up from the ground. Don't mind me, it's a little hard for me right now. What was I saying about underneath the sink? What I recommend that I'm going to do when the time comes that I film that content about underneath the sink, and I'm going to sit on the couch for a second before I show you space number two, is that I'll pull everything out, sort it by type. Hello. And then make some decisions based on what I actually use in my house and only put back what I do use. And then from there, how am I going to put it back? Also putting it back categorically. I do want to have the things that I use the most frequently under the sink in the front, like I had it, but I want to make sure that the things that I have in the back are actually also things I would use, not things that are just there for no reason. So that's space number one. And if you're just joining, I'll show you a space just to show you, this isn't my whole home, right? I'm just showing you a couple spaces that really need some organizing and decluttering, but like my whole dining area is very minimalist and clear. It may not be clean right now. So, right, I could actually use a cleaning of the table, but at least it's tidy overall. Okay, I'm gonna attempt to show you space number two without waking up my daughter because it is upstairs and I think she's trying to go to sleep, so we'll try and do this a little bit more quietly. Let's take a little walk. I'm gonna show you this other space. And again, I'm not doing a whole house tour right now. I'm just showing you a few spaces that need decluttering and organizing. All right, let's check this out. I'm gonna do this quietly. So this room here, and this is another video that I'm going to be filming. This is what's going to be my baby's room. And I just had my baby shower. So take a look. What is all that? This room did not look like this before I had this baby shower, but then I came home from the baby shower and I haven't put anything away. The baby shower was last weekend, so it hasn't been that long. Not yesterday, last weekend, but the week before. But you can see all of this stuff here on the floor, it needs a home. So it's not about decluttering in this situation. I wanted to show you two different places in my home. Underneath my sink was 100% about decluttering. This here, it's about organizing. So where am I going to go with all of these things, right? That's what I have to make some decisions on. And I don't know when I'm going to film that one. The under the sink one is going to happen first, and this room is going to happen second. But I want to do it sooner than later because I'm just getting more tired the further into my pregnancy I get. I do have this dresser over here where it's empty. I bought some organizing product for it, but nothing is put away. As you can see, it's just empty. So eventually I'll get around to that. And this whole section over here is just from the shower. I also had some things sent to me in the mail. I'm gonna go back downstairs so I'm not waking up my daughter, but the stuff that's in the mail is in that closet in that bedroom too. So it's a big project to do. And as I was saying, just a reminder that even for those of us that do this professionally, we still have things to work on because we always have an influx of items into our home, right? Whether it's from a big life event like this one for me or just day-to-day life. And so, yeah, just thought it would be helpful to come on here and show you a few places that I'm going to be working on. The other kind of content that I'm working on right now is a closet organization in another home, not my home. But those are the 2 spaces in my own home that need some work. Everything else is looking pretty darn good. But how did I get here to this point of only having these 2 spaces? Well, it's because in 2019 I decluttered about 90% of my belongings, like 80 to 90%. So that has made it so much easier to maintain. One thing I'll just say here with this chat going on right now is that I just ignore any sort of trolls or hate comments. I feel like it's the best way to go about things. And for those of you who come in here just to try to rile me or other people up, I will just continue to ignore it. So I'm just going to let you all know that. My whole channel is about helping people with clutter and yeah, helping them improve their lives through decluttering and organizing. And I don't have any space for any negativity or anything like that. So just generally I ignore it. And for those of you that aren't already subscribed, you may see that that I have a lot of comments about this, is that unless this is actually relevant to what we're talking about, which is about decluttering and organizing, I'm simply not going to answer it here. So just wanted to say that to you. Right, I know. And I was, honestly, to Rachel, I'm also a full-time college professor. I have a doctorate in communication, and I was just talking with my communication students today about YouTube specifically. I said to my college students that I come on YouTube Live recently, and that there were people in there using all of this really, just negative commentary. And that it was, that I just recommend just try not to let it bring you down, because it's not the point of why I'm here. Oh, hi, hello all the way in Maine. It's a lot later there where you are. But yeah, here it is like a little after 8. I am in Southern California here. We're in Los Angeles right now, and like whenever I do my lives, someday I'm gonna do a live while it's like in the morning after I've like gotten ready for work and stuff. But typically when I come on here, oh, thank you, Rachel. Typically when I come on here, it's like the end of the day. It's because when I get some peace and quiet, when I'm in my robe and my pajamas, just because, that's when I'm relaxed and when I have some time to myself too. One of the things I wanted to, let me see, hold on a second. One moment. I'm still relatively new to using YouTube Live, so I'm gonna just set something up here. Okay, cool. Oop, whoa, what happened? I turned the camera on. That was a mistake. Sorry about that. You were probably just seeing like the corner of my home for a second. Oh, side note, I don't know how many of you have watched the video I did about Lego organizing, which was by color. It was absolutely ridiculous to spend all this time doing it, but I have to just show you how it's been maintained. And here's another example of it's like not perfect around here. But my daughter was just playing with Legos earlier, and look at this, she's still maintained it. It's been like at least a month, if not longer, since we organized this by color. And yes, it is ridiculous. And like, would I recommend doing this? No. It took me so much, it took her and I so much time to put that together like that, and it really doesn't seem like the ideal way to store Lego. However, she's liking it. It's working for her. So clearly I was onto something. And it's also a reminder that, and yes, I do. I'm a full-time college professor, and I also am a small business owner. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Michelle. What was I saying? I lost track. But, about these Legos, right? I'm going to show you all again. Right, the Lego organizing. And I'm seeing a few pieces, which if you all are parents, you know what I mean. It's like there's no worse feeling on your feet than stepping on a Lego piece barefoot. So that's why I wanted to pick it up. But seeing this Lego organization here is just reminding me of how organizing is not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. A communication professor, that's what my doctorate is in. I have a PhD in communication. I've been teaching for, it's been a long time now, like 14 years. Yeah, 14 years. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing. And so sometimes, and I find this too when I watch organizing videos myself or decluttering videos, I'm like, why did they do it that way? Or I wouldn't have set it up that way, but what works for one person may not work for another. And I think the main thing with the content, or with even just these spaces I'm showing you, is to provide some sort of inspiration into what's possible in your own home. Because I know that for so many people that my team and I work with, that the idea of having to organize or to declutter is just so overwhelming. And for those of you that have just joined me, I'm not going to go back upstairs because I'm trying to be quiet while my daughter's sleeping, but I'm going to show you once again what I need to work on under my sink, because if you're just joining me, you didn't see this, but I was there earlier. I'll squat down once again, but as I mentioned, I'm 7 months pregnant, so not super comfortable for me to have to bend down. But this is the area that I still need to declutter, and hopefully I'm going to do this in like the next week. So it looks like this. This is underneath my sink. You all can see what's going on. There's just way too much stuff. It's just like a lot of crap down there, basically. It's just way, way too much going on. And how did it end up like this? Because this is not what most of my home looks like. Most of my home is very tidy and organized, but it's because I don't access it all the time. Yes, I do clean my own house. I don't have somebody else clean it, but I really only access the things in the front, and everything in the back is just kind of been forgotten about. And it's probably been like this for years. I've lived in this home for years. So it's definitely worth my time to go back through everything, which, yes, I'm gonna have to pull everything out from underneath there. That part won't be fun, especially the sitting on the ground part for me. But my goal with that space underneath the sink is to only keep the cleaning supplies that I actually use, which I really am gonna have to sit and think about. What have I used in the last 6 months? Right. Which I'm guessing there are some things in there that really I haven't used in more than 6 months. It may have been years. So anyway, what do I, oh, okay. Just making sure I answered recent questions. Thank you. Thank you. Advice or a business owner. And don't mind me if I sound out of breath. It's one of those late pregnancy symptoms. Actually, it happened the whole time. I get out of breath very easily, even though I used to be very, very physically active before I was pregnant. I just, even bending down to have to look under the sink is a lot for me. Oh, thank you. Thanks. I go for like a neutral vibe, but I overall like have pops of green around my house too. Advice on being a business owner. I have so much of it. That should be a whole other live that I do. But just a few things that I would say would be to, one, bootstrap your business. I 100% believe in that, meaning that you fund it yourself and don't take on any debt, only do what you can do in your means, and to grow slowly. Sometimes you can't totally control what growth is like, but to grow slowly and be really mindful of the choices you make, the people that you hire, if any, and just keeping your monthly expenses quite low so that you can handle fluctuations that happen. And I guess my answer is kind of about service-based industry, but that's some of my advice that I have. And also, like, believe in yourself because that's why you're doing it. I never saw myself as a business owner before I started this business 4 years ago, but here we are, and I absolutely love it. And I think part of the reason why my business has been doing well all of these years is because of some of those choices that I was just making that I explained to you, is that I spent very, very little when I started this business, and I've been making very mindful and strategic choices and not overspending in any way, which has allowed me to kind of ride the waves as things fluctuate with business. I don't know what all of those emojis mean, but oh, no problem. Yeah, I mean, it definitely is very fulfilling to be a business owner. It takes a lot of work, but I love it. I love thinking about it all the time. It's quite a lot of fun. Oh, wow, you're quite far away in India. I am here in Southern California. And I'm probably going to wrap this up pretty soon. I'm realizing that I've already been talking for almost 20 minutes, but not sure what I will do my next live on. I need to figure out a way to film a live and do one of my usual like declutter videos at the same time. Maybe I just try it that way. Oh, that's a really inappropriate question. As I was saying earlier, not going to really engage with questions or comments that are unrelated to what we're talking about, which is decluttering and organizing here. So, so what I was saying is that I want to make these videos regarding the space I showed you upstairs, getting organized, the nursery organization. Definitely Under the Sink is happening in this next week. Going to be making one on a closet that I've been working on in another person's home. And that's kind of what we have going on. But somehow all of that's going to happen while I'm still full-time teaching in the next week or two. I may wait on the nursery organization though, like for another few weeks, and have someone from my team help me. Like one of the, I guess, huge perks I have of being a business owner and having a team of organizers that work for me is that I can have some help, and then I don't have to do that all by myself here. Although I do tend to organize my own house most of the time on my own. I teach communication-related classes, any communication-related classes. So right now I'm teaching public speaking, and I'm teaching a class about new media and communication, specifically like post-internet communication. I often teach interpersonal communication, but anything comm-related, and I absolutely love that. And it's a big part of how I approach organizing and decluttering also. One of the things that it's really hard for me to not get to film this, but it's so rare that people let me just film complete unedited versions of working in their home. Most people are much, much more private than that. But that's what we're really known for in working with our clients is how we ultimately talk with them and how they feel. How long have I been on YouTube? You know, I joined YouTube more recently than other sorts of social media. I started with Facebook and Instagram for my business, but I don't know, now I gotta look back at my channel. I probably joined, I know I reserved the name on YouTube relatively soon after I started my business, but I think I really have been, in the last year, maybe a year plus, been more seriously trying to post on here, but I only do this very part-time on the side because I have a full-time teaching job and I also run my business, and I'm the one who's in charge of all of the social media too. So yeah, that's about it. Let me know if you have decluttering or organizing questions. I'll stay on for like, I'm gonna say like another 3 to 5 minutes-ish. Sometimes people ask me specific questions about spaces in their home or how to get started, or like a specific challenge that they're having with organizing. I'd be happy to answer that for you. And that'll probably be how I wrap up. Oh, I like this. I just turned on a cool setting on here. I'm busy, but I'm also, I don't know, I'm very particular about how I spend my time. That's what I would say. I don't view busyness as a positive thing, as someone who identifies as a minimalist overall. I try to be really mindful of how I spend my time. Oh, I love that it does this. Okay, cool. I'm just learning about some of the privacy settings that they have here on YouTube and moderator settings on comments. So something I'm going to look into more because it allows me to like review messages that may be either like spam or really, really not cool. Yeah, let me see if it will let me do this. Yeah, it allows me to like remove people too. That's neat. How do I actually declutter and not just stuff shift? That is a great question. And this is, you know, so often with people that I work with that are having a really hard time decluttering, they want to stuff shift. And for those of you who don't know what that's referring to, it's just when you move stuff from one place to another. It's the psychological term for it is called churning, aka stuff shifting. It's where, let's say, I had a pile on my dining table and then I just moved the pile to the kitchen counter. It didn't actually accomplish any decluttering. Yes, the kitchen table is no longer cluttered, but it just moved the stuff. It's not actually addressing the problem. And so the way to avoid stuff shifting is this. Let's say it was the kitchen table. Instead of just putting all of it, piling it somewhere else, yes, I'm going to pull everything off of the table. And yeah, it is a great question. I should make a whole video just on churning. Yes, I'm going to pull it all off the table. After I pull everything off the table, I'm going to sort it into categories based on like items. That's always how I sort things. So let's say it's bills. I'm going to put all the papers that are bills together. I'm going to put, I don't know what else is on there, kids' toys in a pile. Maybe I'm doing this all on my floor on another surface. But after you have done that, what you're going to do is you're going to make a decision on what to do with those items. So number one, is this something I need to keep? Number two, is this something that you can donate? Number three, is this trash or recycling? And from that, in the keep items, for the things you're going to keep, you have to find, and here, hold on a second, I think I can do more of this kind of hiding of people. Cool. From the stuff you're going to keep, you are going to decide where it goes. It has to have a home, okay? So the home can't just be shifting it to another countertop or to another place. It has to have a designated and dedicated home. And so, for example, with your mail that, let's say it's strewn about everybody or everywhere, you're gonna have one place in your home where you put all of that mail every single time, instead of just moving it to another countertop, because that's ultimately just delaying your decision. You're not actually making a choice when you just churn. So you have to make a choice on what that item is going to, or where that item is going to go in your home. Now, if it's something that can be recycled or go in the trash, and it's actually one of those types of items, put it there immediately. If it needs to be shredded, get the shredder. Let's take care of it now. So usually what happens when I get into somebody's home is that these decisions have been put off for months, if not years. And so what my goal is to, from start to finish, make sure that they have made those decisions in their entirety about those types of items. So if it's donated, we're putting everything in a box to be donated. And often what I do for clients is I schedule donation pickups directly from their home. Usually we work with such large quantities of items that it's not something that can just simply be donated in the car. We often need a truck to come. But that's a way to avoid churning, is that you have to just from start to finish make decisions on 100% of the items, including where do the items go in your home if you're going to keep them, and putting them there and making sure that that is the designated space. Which, yes, it may result in you having to declutter another space, but that's, to me, the only way you can do it, is to actually make a final decision about it. About favorite color, too. This is unrelated to organizing, but if you look at my channel, you will know that yellow is one of my favorite colors because my business logo is yellow, which was intentional. It was supposed to look like the sun or sunshine. But love that question about stuff shifting or churning, because it is such a common problem that so many people that I work with have. And it's such a hard habit to get out of because, like, most people are not like me. Most people don't enjoy doing this line of work. They view it as something that they would not want to do, right? They would much rather just plop down on the couch when they get home and relax and not have to deal with the stuff, even though all of that stuff is bringing them quite a great deal of anxiety or stress or whatever it may be. So yes, it's hard to make the decision on what to do with the stuff, but I really encourage you not to just do the stuff shifting, and to just deal with it once and for all. It's worth it. And so one of the ways that I do this on a daily basis. That's how I really maintain it, so it never gets out of hand. Even what you're seeing under my sink, it's not that, quote, bad. But for example, when my daughter comes back from school, I open her backpack, we go through the paperwork, because paper comes home every single day, and see what can be recycled. Okay, what is something that's an action item, that, like, homework she needs to do, something I need to sign, and what is paperwork that can be recycled, because if it can be, it's going directly in the recycling bin. I'm not putting it on a counter to be forgotten about. I'm not leaving it stuffed in her backpack. It's going to be dealt with. You're welcome. You're welcome. Let me know how it goes. I don't know how it is here on YouTube, but on my other social platforms, like on Instagram, someone can DM me and let me know. But, if you want to, send me an email at info@goldenwestorganizing.com and let me know how it went about trying to make a final decision. My recommendation is to start with some small space in your home, rather than trying to do all of it at once, like a countertop, whether it's entry table or a kitchen counter or a bathroom counter or what have you, and see what progress you can make, and use that as motivation to keep going. And on that note, now that we're at almost 30 minutes, I wanted to just say thank you all for stopping by. As I mentioned, I'm still pretty new to doing lives. I want to do more of them, but I really appreciate everybody coming by and saying hello and asking these questions. And I'm really excited to do more of these in the future. And keep an eye out for the videos that I make on those two spaces I showed you tonight. You are the first people to see those spaces that I'm going to be filming next, probably starting with under my kitchen sink and then ending with the nursery. But thank you again. And I don't know where you are in the world, right? We're all in different places, but I hope you have a good rest of your day or night. All right, bye everyone.